Welcome back. With the job market showing some signs of life, a question: how do you stand out from everybody else? My guest this week says the key to landing that job isn't always only in the experience you bring to the table. Here now with some tips for the hunt is the author of the book Hire on a Whim: 4 Qualities That Make for Great Employees. I'd like to welcome career coach and trainer Garrett Miller, and you are also the CEO of Coatria in Andover. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, where to start? Because so many people have been unemployed for such a long time now, and a lot of people gave up looking. They gave up, said, we'll look when the whole atmosphere is a little bit better in the job market. So now people are starting to jump back in. What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, that's great advice. Great question. The first thing is networking. You know, that would be the first thing I would say. In my experience, the greatest jobs happen because you know somebody. And just take a look at your small network of people. You know a ton of people, and they know a ton of people. So networking is where you begin. And if you're not, a lot of people think, well, I can only network in the business industry. Join a church group. Join us, coach a soccer team, join a civic club. It's amazing who you bump into, and you have great conversations, and people love to help people. And when they know you're looking for work, and you have good experiences and good qualities, they're willing to help you out.
How much do you think social media plays these days in networking?
You know, it's funny you ask that question because we've never been more connected, right? I'm LinkedIn, I got 500 connections, and I got 1 million second connections. I have 350 friends on Facebook. But are they really connections? And I would caution people, never let those take the place of the handshake and passing the card and asking for help.
So you want to get out there. It's nice to say you've got all these connections and to look at all your friends. Look at all the friends I have, all these connections. But unless you get out there, you're saying you're still not doing yourself justice.
Absolutely. Right.
All right, let's talk about some of the qualities that employers are looking for these days, because as I said at the beginning of the interview, it's not just about your job experience anymore. Let's start with your work ethic.
It's true. We believe the book Hire on a Whim, the WHIM is acronym, so we're going to walk through W-H-I-M, and W stands for work ethic. And what's unique about all 4 of these qualities is that you can't teach them. No matter how talented of a manager you are, you can't teach work ethic. People either know how to work or they don't. I was talking to someone who owned a car dealership, and he said, you know, Garrett, the example of work ethic for me is somebody who walks by a spill and cleans it up without being asked to. And it's just those people who don't complain about work. You look at their resume and you see that they're really busy often, you know.
So how do you get that across, though? Let's say that you're going in on an interview. How do you portray that in an interview?
Excellent. One of the ways is your resume. You know, it's not just work experience, it's other experiences. If you've ever volunteered for an organization, that's not fun, and it's not part-time. A lot of times they're full-time. So talk about the hours that you invest in your work as well as your community. You know, because you want the person to go, hold on, how did you have time to go to work? You were doing all these things. Yeah, well, it just comes natural to me.
Just a moment ago you mentioned somebody walking by a spill and cleaning it up, so that leads us to integrity, to do what's right.
Yeah, the integrity is knowing to do what's right when nobody's looking. We know what that looks like. But companies are screaming, industry is screaming for people with integrity because they are losing billions of dollars, and you know better than I do, of lawsuits because some 1 or 2 individuals didn't have the proper integrity. You can't teach that. You can have somebody sign an integrity agreement. What does that mean? It means they signed an integrity agreement. Does it mean it's in their heart and it's what they do naturally?
All right, so how about maturity? You would like to think that the people who are coming to work or going in on an interview would exhibit some form of maturity if they want the job.
Right, so maturity is kind of a little more tough to get your hands around with, because we mature because we get older, right? I'm 44, right? Or we mature because life teaches us. And that's what I want to focus in on. So one of the questions I love to ask is, what event in your life has helped form you to be the person you are today? And it's amazing the events that people come through, and what you want to hear is you know what, I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy, but it made me a better person. And they approach it not in the realm of bitterness, but as thankfulness that they were able to learn from it. And that leads into humility.
Humility and the willingness to learn. And listen, if there's one thing that losing a job can do to you, it really brings out that humility.
Absolutely. And have you ever tried to teach somebody who already knows everything? Right? How much fun is that?
That's a load of fun.
So humility we define as the ability and the willingness to learn. And you can demonstrate that by talking about experiences that you failed at. Failure is not a problem. Making mistakes is not a problem. Not learning from them is the problem. So I love to hear about people's situations where they may have not performed as well as they wanted to and what they did to fix it.
All right, so now let's say you walk in for that interview. What can the person who's going in hoping to get the job, what can they gather? What can they learn just by looking at the person who's interviewing them?
Yeah, well, you want to try and they're going to ask you a battery of questions trying to get what they want across. But if they don't get to these aspects, you do want to talk about these elements that you can't teach. But I'm bringing them to your corporation.
So try and get them out there. All right, we're going to have to leave right there. Garrett, it's great to meet you.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
Thanks for coming on the show.
All mine.
And if you have any questions or comments about anything in today's interview, send them to me at itsyourmoney@news.